Good morning. Good morning, student. Today we shall see the repetitive section, and the story from repetitive section is the making of a scientist. Boys, to to be gifted by God and to be interested in particular subject, these are two different things. If man is gifted with that talent, so there is no problem because it is already given to you by God. There will be no any shortage of anything else if you are already gifted. But interest can also do a lot. Continuity is also very important. Here in this story you will see he had lost his father when he was child, when he was in second grade, but he became one of the most famous scientists in the world regarding biochemistry and molecular chemistry. It's a story of a woman and it's a story of a scientist. How he becomes scientist. Shall I start the story? See here, page number 32. Today we should finish it, and we can finish it because it is just a procedure of being a scientist, making of a scientist. See, on in the beginning or after the heading of the letter, I am reading that Robert E. Wright has received the Search Scholar Award and the Severin Flo Award for Biochemistry and Molecular Biology. It was his fascination from butterfly, his attraction, his fascination towards butterfly makes him a famous scientist. It was his fascination for butterflies that opened the world of science to him. And now read and find out the answer to these two questions. First question: how did a book become turning point in the scientist's life? Let me read again. How did a book become a turning point in Richard's life? How did, this is very important, how did his mother encourage him? How did his mother help me? Boys, behind every successful man, there are hands of mother. She supports us, she guides us, she is vice chancellor of the world's university. She guides us, she gives us morality, she gives us courage, she encourages everything. Mother is a guide, mother is a mentor, mother is a facilitator, mother is a director, mother is manager, mother is facilitator, mother is everything. The mother here in this story also has played a very important role for making Robert a great scientist. So without wasting time, I shall start like this. At the age of 22, underline this word, hardly the writer, no, not writer, the scientist was 22 years old. At the age of 22, a farmer scout of the year excited the scientific world with a new theory on how cells work. His theory excited all. His theory, whose theory? Theory of Roberts. excite all scientists. And what was there in this theory? The theory deals with how cells work. Richard S. Ebright has Richard S. Bright and his colleague Richard S. Bright and his colleague roommate explained the theory in an article in the Proceeding of National Academy of Science. This theory, how cell work, was described in one of the famous magazine with the help of his friend, college friend. It was the first time this important scientific journal had ever published the work of college student. Means it shows how important the work has been done by these young scientists. It was published in a very famous magazine, scientific magazine, especially from youth, especially from young students. In sport, that would be like making a big leap at the age of 15 and hitting a home run, your first time at bat. For Robert E. Wright, it was the first in a long string of achievement in science and other fields, and it is all started with butterfly. See, read the line. It was his fascination. I am on the top. It was his fascination for butterfly opening the world of science to Robert. But it was one thing here, and it all started with butterflies. As only child, E. Bright grew up not of reading. As only child, E. Bright grew up not of reading Peninsula. There wasn't much I could do here. There wasn't much I could do there. He said, I certainly could not play football, baseball with a team of one. But there was one thing I could do, and that was to collect things. He could not play football, volleyball. He had no friend actually, and so he could do one thing, and that he could collect the thing. So he did. He started collecting things. He did, and did he ever continually started doing anything, collecting things. Beginning in kindergarten, in childhood, in nursery or convent, E. Bright collected when he was small, very young. He collected butterflies with the same determination that had marked all his activity. He also collected rocks, fossils, and coins. He became an eager astronomer too, sometimes stargazing on it. See here, he was interested in all these things. He started collecting things. He was interested in butterflies. He was interested in collecting coins, fossils, rocks, and he was eager to become astrologer also. So he did, and did ever becoming the kindergarten E. Bright collected butterflies with the same determination that had marked all his activities. He also collected rocks, fossils, coins. He became an eager astronomer too, sometimes stargazing all night. See the child interest in the beginning. From the first, he had a diving curiosity along with a bright mind. He also had a mother who encouraged his interest in learning. This woman played a very, very, very important role in the life of the scientist. She took him on trip. See, encouragement given to him by his mother. She took him on trip. He took him on trips, brought him telescope, microscope, camera, mountaining material and other equipment, and helped him in many other ways. In this way, his mother encouraged the scientist. I was his only companion until he started school. His mother said. After that, I would bring him friend for him, but at night we just did things together. Richie was my whole life after his father died. When Richie was in third grade, his father passed away, and his mother was only his friend, his companion, who supported him in all respect of things. She and her son spent she and her son spent almost every evening at the dining room table. If he did not have a thing to do, I found work for him, not physical work, but learning things. His mother said he liked it, he wanted to learn. This was the interesting. Okay. And learn he did. It means he learned a lot. He earned top grade in school on every day things. He was just like any other child. He was just like any other kid, his mother said. By the time he was in the second grade, Ebright had collected 25 pieces of butterfly found around the hometown. And actually, here are the species. Actually, there are not 25. If you count, you will come to know there are only 24 species. But he collected. He wandered here and there and caught 24 variety of butterflies. This probably would have been the end. Of my butterfly collecting, he said. But then my mother got me a children book called The Travels of Monarchs X. This book, which told how monarch butterfly migrate to Central America, opened the world of science to the eager young scientist. The book brought renaissance in the life of scientists. At the end of the book, readers were invited to help study butterfly migration. They were asked to tag butterfly for reach by Dr. Frederick Equan of University of Toronto, Canada. Ebright mother wrote to Ebright, and soon Ebright was attaching light adhesive tag to the wing of monarch. Anyone who found a tagged butterfly was asked to send the tag to Dr. Udhart. The butterfly collecting seasons around reading last 6 weeks in late summer. See paragraph below. If you are going to chase them one by one, you wouldn't catch very many. So the next step of Ebright was to raise a flock of butterflies. He would catch female monarchs, take their eggs, and raise them in his basement through their life cycle, from eggs to caterpillar to pupa to adult butterfly. Then he would tag the butterfly's wing and let them go. For several years, his basement was to thousands of monarchs in a different stage of development. In this way, he regenerates butterflies on his own. Eventually, I began to lose interest in tagging butterfly. It is tedious and there is not much feedback, Ebright said. In all the time I did it, he laughed. Only 2 butterflies I had tagged were recaptured, and they were not more than 75 miles from where I lived. This attempt, he expected, did not bring good result. And now, see the question. What lesson does Ebright learn when he does not win anything as a science fair? What experiment and project does he undertake? What experiment and project does he then undertake? What are the qualities that go into making of a scientist? We have to see the answer of this question. Let me go ahead. Page number, which was 35. Then in the seventh grade, he got a hint of what real science is when he entered a country science fair and lost. He lost the competition. It was really a sad feeling to sit there and not get anything while everybody else had won something, Ibrahim said. His entry was slides of frog tissue which he showed under a microscope. He realized the winner had tried to do real experiment, and that's why he failed and the other competitor won, not simply make a neat display. He was unsuccessful because he simply did not make a neat, clean display. Already the competitive spirit that drives Richard E. Bright was appealing. I know that for the next year fair, I would have to do a real experiment. This is the spirit, he said. The subject I knew most about was the insect work I had been doing in the past several years. So he wrote to the doctor or quack for idea and come back with a stack of suggestions for experiment. Those kept Ibrahim busy all through high school and led to the prize project in country and international science fair. In second attempt, he got the prize. For his eighth grade project, Ibrahim tried to find the cause of viral disease. His work now really started. He wanted to find the cause of viral disease that kills nearly all monarch caterpillar every few years. Ibrahim thought the disease might be carried by a beetle. He tried raising caterpillar in the presence of beetle. I don't get any real result, he said, but I went ahead and showed that I had tried the experiment. This time I won the prize. In this way, for the second time, he won the prize. The next year, his science fair project was testing the theory that Viceroy butterfly copy monarchs. The theory was that Viceroy took like monarchs. The theory was that Viceroy look like monarchs because monarchs don't taste good to the bird. Viceroy, on the other hand, do taste good to the bird. So the more they look like monarchs, the less likely they are to become a bird's dinner. Ibrahim's project was to see whether in fact bird would eat monarchs. He found that a starling would not eat ordinary bird food. It would eat all the monarchs it could get. Ibrahim said later research by other people showed that Viceroy probably do copy the monarch. The project was placed first in geology division and third overall in the country science affair. He got in that thesis third prize. In his second year in high school, Ibrahim began research that led to his discovery of an unknown insect hormones. Indirectly, it also led to his new theory, this is very important, new theory of live cell. The question he tried to answer was simple. What is the purpose of the 12 tiny gold spots on monarch's pube? Everyone assumed the spots were just ornamental, Ibrahim said. But Dr. Evans did not believe it. To find the answer, Ebright and other excellent science students first had to build a device that showed that the spot were reproducing hormones necessary for the butterfly's full growth, full development. This project won Ebright first place in the country fair and entry into the International Science and Engineering Fair. There he won third place for geology. He also got a chance to work during the summer at the entomology laboratory of the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. As a high school junior, Richard Ebright continued his advanced experiment on the monarch cube. That year, his project won the first place at the International Science Fair and gave him another chance to work in the Army laboratory during the summer. In his senior year, he went a step further. He grew cells from monarch's wing in a culture and showed that the cell would divide and develop into normal butterfly wing scale only if they are fed the hormones from the gold spot. This project won the first place for geology at the International Fair. He spent the summer after graduation doing further work at the Army Laboratory and at the laboratory of US Department of Agriculture. The following summer, after his freshman year at Howard University, Ebright went back to the laboratory of Department of Agriculture and did more work on the hormones from the gold spot. Using the laboratory's sophisticated instrument, he was able to identify the hormones' chemical structure. A year and a half later, during his junior year, Ebright got the idea from his new theory about cell. It came while he was looking at X-ray photos of chemical structure of hormone. While here, another invention will be done by him and see which is that one. When he saw those photos, Ebright didn't shout Eureka or even I have got it, but he believed that along with finding about insect hormones, the photos gave him the answer to one of the biological problem puzzle, how the cell can read the blueprint of its DNA, and DNA is the substance in the nucleus of cell that controls heredity. It determines the form and function of the cell. Thus, DNA is the blueprint of life, he proves. Ebright and his colleague roommate James R. Brown worked all that night drawing picture and constructing plastic model of molecules to show how it could work. Together, they later wrote the paper that explained the theory. Surprising no one who knew him, Richard Ebright graduated from Harvard University with highest honor, second in his class of 1,510 students. Ebright went on to become a graduate student researcher at Harvard's Medical School. There, he began doing experiments to test his theory. If the theory proves correct, it will be a big step towards understanding the process of life. It might also lead to new idea for preventing some type of cancer and other diseases. All of this is possible because of Ebright's scientific curiosity. His high school research into the purpose of the spot on monarch's cube eventually led him to his theory about the cell life. Richard Ebright has been interested in science since he began collecting butterflies, but not so deeply that he hasn't time for other interest. Ebright also became champion debater and public speaker and a good colonist and all-round outdoors person. He was all-rounder apart from scientist. He is also an expert photographer, particularly of nature and the scientific exhibit. In high school, Richard Ebright was straight student because learning was easy. He turned a lot of his energy towards the debating and model United Nations Club. He also found someone to admire Richard, a Weber as socially studies teacher and advisor to both mind to new ideas, Ebright said. Richard would always give that extra effort. These previous said hours at night doing debate research beside doing all his research with butterflies and his other interests. Research was competitive. He continued, but not in bad sense. He explained. Richard wasn't interested in winning for winning's sake or winning to get prize. Rather, he was winning because he wanted to do the best job he could for the right reason. He wants to be the best, and that is one of the ingredient in making of a scientist. Start with a first rate mind, see quality, add curiosity, and mix in the will to win for the right reason. Ebright has this quality from the time the book The Travels of Monarch X opened the world of science to him. Ebright has never lost his scientific curiosity. In this way, I also had some these scientists only because the curiosity which he has had was never lost, and that everlasting curiosity